Hi, I'm Charlotte, and just to start off with a little bit about myself. I've been a midwife for a number of years, working both in Brisbane and in the Northern Territory, which is very exciting, working in different hospitals there. I've worked with antenatal women, I've worked with women in birth suites, labouring and birthing, and I've also worked with lots of postnatal women, either on the wards or at home. So I've been really privileged in my practice as a midwife to be really experienced and be exposed to lots of these different environments, and as well see it across 2 different states. So that's been really lovely. Unfortunately, through having my own children and being involved in this system, I've actually seen where our system is lacking, and especially in the hospital system where we could improve as far as postnatal wellbeing especially, which is why I come up with these videos to offer women a little bit more support, a little bit more information, and just to go through things at a little bit of a later stage. I hope to expand these videos into, a few different topics. So if you do have any suggestions, please feel free to give me some feedback. I always appreciate feedback. In the meantime, I hope you enjoy the PowerPoints and you do learn something new. Thank you. Through my years of being a midwife, I've been lucky enough to become a mum of 2 beautiful boys, soon to be 3. And it's this, along with my love of research and building my own knowledge, which has really pushed me to do these post-birth videos and try and provide women with a bit more education and a few more resources to access. Having my own babies and already being a midwife, I of course thought, how hard can it be? And it was these experiences that really made me realise how very little I actually knew and how ill prepared I was to actually cope with my motherhood. I had very unrealistic expectations. I naively thought, how hard can it be? As I said, women have been doing this for years, and I thought that because I was a midwife and I knew the theory, that it was just putting it into practice, and it was a simple case of that. However, I very quickly realised that babies are actually small human beings that certainly haven't read the midwife's textbook or any of the books on how to raise children, and they don't know what's expected of them. And more importantly, they do in fact have a mind of their own, and they are little individuals. Unfortunately, nobody ever told me that, so I was a little bit unprepared for it. So in my experience as a midwife, I've been lucky enough to, as I said, work in lots of hospitals and especially with postnatal women. And the thing that I have seen over the last couple of years is that hospitals are becoming more and more full with women building their families, which has resulted in women being discharged quicker and getting less postnatal follow-up because of the staffing and issues that are associated with that. This therefore results in obviously less information being provided in a very compact state, and a lot sooner after the birth. So I don't know about you guys, but I know I wasn't retaining a whole lot in that first 24 hours after I just given birth. So being provided a whole bunch of information on what to expect for the first 6 weeks in that time was very, not helpful and was not processed. And we know that this is all information that's really important for mums. This is stuff that new mums really want to know. So this is where these videos come in, and this is where I come in to provide you with all of that extra information, to provide you with some extra information and to go through sort of what the hospitals would have chatted to you about in a little bit more detail. Because if you're anything like me, you probably did forget it, unless you were there for a couple of days. I want to be able to give you a whole lot of information that you can take home and adjust to work for you and your family. The main message I want to get across today is that you are your baby's mum. You have everything you need to raise your baby in you already. Your instincts and your gut are the best indicator for your baby because your baby is an individual. They're a unique combination of you and your partner and the genes they are made up of. They're not going to be the same as your neighbour's baby, as your sister's baby, or anyone else's baby. They're a completely unique child in the same way that you're not the same as your neighbour, your sister, or anyone else. While we go through similar phases at different times of our life, we all cope and behave quite differently, and this is important to keep in mind when you are discussing, your baby. So the sessions currently on offer are a breastfeeding or feeding PowerPoint, a sleeping PowerPoint, and an adjustment to motherhood PowerPoint, which covers sort of everything else that's involved in those first couple of months and just getting used to your body, your baby, and everything that comes with having given birth and having a baby. Before we get into it, I do just want to say that, as it says there, while I'm a midwife, these videos aren't provided in my capacity as a midwife, and nor are they provided as a private midwife service or anything like that. The classes have been built using my background in midwifery and my understanding of the system, but it is my experience as a mum, as a friend, as a support of other women, and having seen women struggle in that postnatal period that has made me want to do this. It's been a major motivating factor. So I hope you do enjoy them, but obviously it's all general advice, and take it to your care providers if you do have any concerns, whether that's your GP or your child health nurse. So before getting into the PowerPoints, I do just want to do a little chat about traditions and some different traditions that are around the world at the moment, just for that first couple of weeks after birth. So firstly, I've got the Chinese Golden Month up there, and this is a time when the new mum is virtually waited on by her family for the first month. She's cooked for, her family clean and sort the house for her. Other children are cared for by family and dads. She does not wash for the first month, and this is usually adjusted to, her top being minimally washed for the first week or two before showers. And this, again, isn't for everybody, but it is something that they do simply to allow Bub to really get that smell of mum and for that bonding to really sink in. All of this is to allow the mother to relax, to recover, to spend time getting to know her infant, learning to respond to her baby, to feed her baby, and allowing her baby to really get to know her scent, as I said, her feel, and grow optimally in that, really relaxed environment. Secondly, in there I've got Japan, and in Japan the culture actually encourages mums to stay in their parents' house for the 3 weeks after birth, in bed, having all the housework and cooking performed by family, with again the focus on her actually getting to know her baby and really getting in tune with her baby. And another one is in Latin American culture, so the La Cuarentena. And this means that women abstain from sex, strenuous exercise, and a lot of foods for the first 6 weeks to ensure the health of both mum and bub. And again, this culture encourages family to help with chores, household tasks for this entire period as well, resulting in mum, really not having a whole lot to do outside of getting to know her baby and really healing from that birth process. So as you can see, I'm sure you can start to see a trend. It's not every culture, and I'm sure, there's lots of women in these cultures that don't necessarily like being on bed rest for 6 weeks, and it is very personal. But the message that, is very much in these cultures, and is very much in a lot of cultures, except for our Western culture, and that is that first 6 weeks can be quite a difficult period. It's quite a healing period for you, and a time when you really should be focusing on your baby and getting to know your baby and adjusting to this period. Instead, often in the Western culture, we are expected to greet visiting guests, be a picture of beauty, and have, biscuits baking and things like that. But if you just take a step back though, and really just enjoy this time with your baby, you can't get these early weeks back again. This is the steps, this is the step up into your parenting adventure, and you don't want to rush that. You really want to take it easy and just enjoy this with, your partner and things like that. This goes for whether or not you've had a vaginal birth or a cesarean, a short pregnancy or a long one. You still need to recover for that period. So use your visitors. If you're going to have visitors over, that's great, but pop a job list on the fridge. Use baby cuddles as a payment method for getting jobs done around the house. Ask for people to bring dinner if they're going to come and visit. Bring, whether it's, a lasagna or a pot roast or, something. Even ask them just to go to the grocery shops for you. Most people won't mind. And if they're a true friend, they really won't mind, giving you a hand during this time. So flick over to your PowerPoints, whichever one that you've got, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the series.